What up, what up, what up? Holy shit, it's a lot of y'all out here, man. Welcome to the next, how NBA 2K is cultivating what's next in culture. We have an incredible panel for you guys, a few surprise announcements, so let's get right into it. Our first guest, NBA All-Star, Karl-Anthony Towns.
Never take no for an answer. This wasn't luck cause I played it. You always imagine, if you got a drink, better catch it.
This next guest definitely does not need any introduction in this city. Chicago's own Don C.
Mama birthed the star, you was made to be different. See no competition, yeah. Chasing your dreams, run it up. Doing your team, run it up. When it gets hard, run it up. Run it up.
Last but not least, a legend in the game. Give it up for Steve Stoute.
Make them see, run it up.
There he is.
It don't matter where you start, it's all about the end. It don't matter where you start.
Hey, you know what? Give it up for Steve Stoute again, please. Oh! Guys, so let's get right into it. You know, we've all seen a million video games come and go, yet here we are on stage at ComplexCon talking about 2K, NBA 2K. Why or how has NBA 2K remained relevant through the decades?
I think it's more just the game of basketball. The game of basketball is so worldwide known. It's been the biggest culture movement I think we've seen recently. You know, basketball has pushed culture forward for such a long time, and especially now, it's the most popular game in the world. So I think 2K is staying relevant, but just the success that the NBA is having right now.
And in addition to like basketball being so relevant, I think 2K takes the advantage of fusing cultural movements with basketball. So it makes it like uber relevant, where you have things going on currently that are infused in the game and with the updates. So it really keeps it exciting.
Love it.
I always thought like the players actually look like themselves, and the play has always been lockstep with it. So, you know, the athletes got into it. And when the athletes start playing the game, you know it's authentic, it's real, and they've never sacrificed that. That's why I always thought the game stayed relevant. They never faked any of that.
I want to shift gears a little bit. I want to talk about the word next. The three of you have built your careers on being next. How does one allow themselves to think beyond what they know now and do something that hasn't been done?
You gotta be willing to take a chance. You know, you wanna be different. You know, I've always been told since I was young, you know, if you wanna be great, you gotta do great things. And you gotta do the level of greatness is expected and needed is a risky road. And for me, when I was coming up, I remember everyone wanting me to be a big man who has back to the basket. You know, he was just shooting hook shots, dunking everything, you know, that's it. You know, that's what everyone wanted me to be, telling my father, telling me, this is how you need to play if you want to get to the next level. While they were looking one level ahead, I was looking 4 levels ahead. I wanted to be something different. I wanted to be great. I wanted to be an all-time great. So for me, I wanted to do something different no one had ever done. I wanted to be a guy who was as tall as I am, as big as I am, moving the way I move, playing the guard position the way I do, and shooting the basketball the way I do. So when you're talking about next, it's about taking the risk, taking the chance on yourself, betting on yourself. And I betted on myself majorly when I was young. It's turned out pretty well for me.
I think it worked out okay for you.
I think it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, I think the same thing when you go to undiscovered waters or to the next plateau or the next frontier of whatever you're trying to do, it can be fearful, but I just want to encourage everybody to let that motivating factor be love over fear. So if you love what you're doing, it doesn't matter what happens, because the process is what you enjoy. You enjoy doing it, you enjoy crafting or working at your craft or things like that. So I think just if you move in love, it'll be okay, no matter how it happens. And that emotion will connect with whoever you're trying to connect with, your audience.
Got it.
You got to find the comfort in discomfort. Anytime you go into the next level, it's going to feel uncomfortable. It's not going to feel, once you get comfortable, you're over. I tell people all the time who work with me, if you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards, right? So in order to do that, you got to take those risks. And like both men just said, you got to believe in yourself. You got to know yourself better than anybody else. Nobody should be able to tell you anything about yourself that you don't already know. And you got to believe in that truth and use that truth to guide you. And if you follow that, you'll just keep propelling yourself forward.
Are there people, along those lines, are there people in your respective fields that are challenging the norm, that are continuously reaching or trying to find what's next?
But by the way, I wore these Red Octobers today because I knew I was going to be up here with Don C. And Don C worked on these joints. And I asked him, I'm like, why did y'all put this thing on the back of these? And he was just telling me it was like a dinosaur. Him and Kanye said, I want these things to be like a dinosaur on the back. I'm like, but no one did that before. Why did you do that? Did you feel comfortable? You could tell them the rest of the story.
Nah, I mean, I think the reason he got on that was to the point that you brought up. Like, yeah, we encourage each other not to be comfortable. Even people in other fields, like you know, us as human beings, we just all connected through the force that's in this room, that's in the universe, and we just gotta just work together with each other to help each other push each other to the next level. So I think as what you said, like, you know, steel sharpens steel. If you collectively put yourself around people that do push themselves, that's gonna encourage you to push yourself, and in turn, you wanna do that to them. So, I mean, this guy, just by example, like I was jealous when he walked up. I was like, oh, why I ain't think of that?
Nah, this is your part of your invention, bro. You definitely are a genius at pushing the culture forward through fashion. And I think that when I first started, I've always felt like music and basketball was the same thing. Like you know, the early Allen Iverson commercials with Jadakiss was something we did back in the days, and we did the TV commercial.
Which, by the way, Steve, not to cut you off, people thought you were crazy when you first served that up back then. That wasn't happening.
They couldn't believe it. Well, first of all, we got Hype Williams, who was primarily a film director for music videos, to shoot a TV commercial, and of course he had no script, no storyboards, no nothing, right? So he was showing up with a camera. Then you got Allen Iverson, who's never on time, right? Like ever on time for anything. And then you had Jadakiss, who people thought, why don't you use Beanie Siegel or somebody from Philly? But I'm like, it's all one thing, right? And if you just cut the camera on and let these men do what they're gonna do, you're gonna come up with something great. Not only was it great for Reebok and great just for this fusion of basketball and hip hop, because it was true, but then that commercial started playing on mix shows. They started playing that on the radio.
Record.
The TV commercial was getting played on the radio. Yeah. And like, that just shows how tight-knit fashion, hip hop, basketball, the whole thing just comes together. And now with NBA 2K, it's in games. It's the same thing.
So speaking of NBA 2K, I have a little bit of a confession to make with you guys. I'm the player when I play Cat. I use one player. I try to score 9,000 points with him, 0 assists.
You definitely lose the game.
Definitely haven't won a game yet, just to keep it clear, all the way clear. But just a couple days ago, I'm sure a lot of you guys saw it, like even LeBron, you know, posted footage of him playing, and he's actually running plays. Yeah. He's actually running pick and roll. Have you ever used 2K to like check out lineups with your teammates or run plays?
Absolutely. I mean, godly, I use 2K now to see where all the free agents are going right now. Free agency? Jesus. So 2K has helped, I've always said it since I was young too, it always helped me understand people's tendencies, you know, the ratings and everything you're seeing. You know, when you look at 2K, you have the ability, I don't know if anyone here plays 2K like that, but you can go to substitutions, you can see the ratings, and you can see the ratings from an in-depth view. So you're seeing like contested 3, open 3, corner 3, like the little things like that. And you know, when you're looking at that, you kind of get their tendencies. You know, well, he's a great shooter off the dribble, but he's not that great off the catch and shoot.
So you're using it, it's almost as a scouting report.
Yeah, it's like a scouting report. There's so much things you can learn from that maybe I'm not as educated. You know, a lot of times where it's really great and helpful is when, you know, they're bringing a two-way player up, or they're bringing a player who hasn't played much all year, and all of a sudden now he's thrown into the starting lineup because of injuries or because of whatever the situation is, and now I need to know a little bit more about him that maybe film won't tell me. It's all about information. Everything about life, when you have power is not about the wealth, it's about the information you have and you withhold. So I mean, I play 2K a lot, obviously for recreational use, just love beating people off the court as well. And but at the same time, using it as more of a scouting report and as a strategical tool.
I think I'm going to go with your strategy moving forward when I play next time. So,
Man, that's amazing.
pass the rock.
I'm awed by that.
You all about shooting the rock?
No, I'm awed by the fact that NBA players use 2K to aggregate the analytics and study their actual opponent.
I mean, it's amazing.
Like, that's-
It's crazy.
Yo.
Is after I went to go see KD after the finals, and I go to his crib, and he's playing 2K in GM mode. He's not even playing the game. He's literally managing, and he's doing a whole season in GM mode, and I never even seen that before.
Yeah.
Like guys playing the game and actually playing it from the perspective of a team general manager.
Well, think about this. Think about how far games have come. Think about when we, even for me, I mean, I'm young. I'm just saying from my era of like, we didn't even talk about video games and basketball games even having plays in it. People, you see 2K now, they're over here calling plays. They know the sets, they know our plays, and I'm like, how did you learn that? Well, 2K has your play in there. I'm like, well, that's great. Now I can't run that anymore. So, there's little things like that. Like video games have come so far, not only graphically, but just from a foundational piece of where the consumer is asking of it. It's asking for it to be the most realistic of all time. And 2K has been, dropping gems for us for years now, and only gotten better and better every year. And every year when you get a 2K, I've said it since 2K14. 2K14 comes out. Wow, this is the best 2K ever. How are they going to top this? 2K15 comes out. We're at 20 now. And we're like, how are they going to top 19? And they just keep finding ways to surprise us.
So speaking of 2K finding ways to surprise us, I said when I came out here that we would make a couple of announcements. So here's the first one. NBA 2K is going to be dropping some lifestyle brands in 2K20, including Staple, Union, Diamond Supply Company, Chinatown Market, a few more, and Just Don. So first of all, let's give Don C a hand for having Just Don. Okay, that's huge, man. That's huge. Don, is that crazy to you? Like, did you ever think, your brand would be in a video game?
Man, it's super crazy to me, but honestly, yeah, I did think one day my brand would I was like, man, I gotta be in 2K one day. But nah, man, I'm hyped. It just shows that the fusion of culture, I think this culture, the most overused word of the past 2 years, is really a melting pot of community members. And all these people in this audience, it's like the information that y'all have is the exact same information as these professionals have. So all the tools are there for everybody to be great. So that's what's so amazing about this. Like I'm overwhelmed with joy to be associated with a brand like the 2K franchise, and to be able to have my product in it is cool, but also to have other products in it, and for everybody to have a product and people to be in the game that are not players and have avatars and stuff like that. It's just, man, it just shows that like we are really, really living.
What
in
you doing, the shorts, everything?
Yeah, some of them. But they just got to get it right where we can do like more silhouettes. That's something I'm gonna just throw out there to put
I think
some
there's some
pressure
people
on
in the room
developers.
probably help with that. Yeah. Don, it seems, and it's a great thing, it seems like we're living in an era where damn near everyone has a streetwear brand, right? So I have two questions for you. One, I'm sure there's people in the audience here that either are starting a streetwear brand or have one and are trying to figure out how to take it to the next level. Any advice you could give to them?
Keep doing you. Like, what makes your brand unique is that it's your brand. So when you see something that you appreciate from someone else's brand, like, take notice of it, but that's their brand. Like, everybody do you, because you is what makes everyone unique. I just want, like, just like the run into what we think is so hot is not you, and it's not authentic to you, and what you do could be actually hotter. Or even if it's not hot, it's authentic to you, so it's gonna be received in the manner in which your energy needs to be put out there in the world, because it's you. So just like, the characteristics or whatever the concept behind whatever anybody is trying to do, just make it be really, really authentic to you, because that's how it's gonna connect with others. Like, the reason 2K is so good, because I've talked to the actual developers. These people are people that love it, they live it, they wanna make it better every year. It's not, we had no conversations about sales figures when we talk about 2K. Yeah, it's smashing, but that's not even what's important. Mm-hmm. So that stuff like is a byproduct of doing what you love and what's authentic to you. You're gonna get the riches. You're gonna get the things that are byproducts of being real.
Talk a little bit about that, Steve, just in terms of like, you know, someone you're friends with and have helped in his career. You know, Hove has notoriously said it's not about having a hot single, right? It's about having a legendary, lengthy career. How important is that, right? Focusing on kind of end game.
Well, you know, Jay-Z, we started working together in like, I guess 2000, 99, 2000. And one of the things that he did that was always true was he never chased the trends. So you got to think back then, guys like Ludacris or NLE was selling way more records than him, but he never chased any of that. He'd rather stay in his lane and make records that were just, you know, pure Jay-Z. And over time, people catch up to that. You know, it's like Don may have started his company, and in the beginning it was rough years, because to be authentically you go through a period of headwinds, because it's very easy to say, you know what, let me just stop doing that. Let me just do this because that's popping right now and get it off. But when you end up doing that, you end up shortening your career. So a lot of the artists that I worked with who've had the longest, most prosperous careers went through 4 or 5 years of just tough times establishing themselves in the world and then watching the world come to them. And I think Jay-Z has done that extremely well. But Nas has done that extremely well. There's been a lot of artists who do that, and there's younger artists who do that today extremely well, where they bring the world to them and not, you know, try to figure out how to just jump on what's popping right now and sacrifice that in order just to have immediate gratification, which is what Carl was saying earlier. Like, of course, it would have been easy for him to just play with his back to the basket and dunk and, you know, bump his chest a few times and point up and do all that. I mean, there's a couple routines you could have done that's popular, but, you know, figuring out, let me do what no one else is doing. Let me play the game that's comfortable for me. I feel comfortable shooting from 18 feet. I feel comfortable taking it to the hole. I don't care about this. I'm a big man. I'm supposed to do this and that because that's what everybody else did. That's their problem. Mm-hmm. That's not your problem. That's their problem. And I think guys who embrace that, well, girls, who embrace that notion of being themselves and not letting the industry standard that was the precedent before them determine how they move forward are the guys that are going to be all-stars and winners at whatever craft they determine.
Mm-hmm. So, perfect transition. Talking about moving forward, our second announcement today. This year, for the first time, the NBA 2K soundtrack will be dynamic, which means throughout season, 2K will be updating the playlist with new songs. There may not be a better representation of what's next than United Masters. For those who don't know, United Masters is a revolutionary service that allows artists to own, I'll say that again, allows artists to own their own music outright. Steve, as founder of United Masters, why is that so important?
I felt my entire career, whether it be music or graphic art, artists, that if it's your IP, if it's something that came from your mind, that you should own it from day one. In the music industry specifically, I've watched guys my whole career have great ideas, make great music, and it wasn't owned by them. It's the reason why Prince wrote "Slave" on his face many years ago and had to end up changing his name. It's what Taylor Swift just recently went through. You know, it's a big deal, and I think that my only hope is that the industry changes. There's nothing wrong with the record industry. There's something wrong with artists not owning their rights from day one. I think they should own their IP, and nobody should be able to own your name and likeness. I don't think it's fair. I think it was something that took place in the 60s and 70s, and everybody got away with it. And my job is to build a company that will help shift that. And if I can shift it and other people follow suit, then I'm cool with that.
So being featured on the NBA 2K soundtrack is a huge opportunity for all artists, right?
Well, yeah, because what we're doing is allowing, you know, artists to say, I'm an independent artist, I'm from anywhere. I'm in, you know, 20 different countries. We're doing this around the world. Like, and I want to get my name, I want to get my song in the game. You can actually go and upload your music to us and we judge it and then put the song in the game. And that's a way to be heard. That's a way to get discovered. How many songs have you heard in NBA 2K that either brought you back to something that you, like you hear Mobb Deep, you'd be like, oh shit, I haven't heard Shook Ones in a while. Or it'd be something you never heard before that you find yourself knowing because you play the game so much. And it's a great opportunity. It's like what MTV is. Or if you play it enough, it's like radio, right? It just plays in your head. So I figured if partnering with NBA 2K, and I give them a shout out and much respect to them for allowing us to have the opportunity to put new independent artists in the game is gonna actually be a new way of engagement, a new level, and I appreciate that opportunity.
So it's almost like we rehearsed this. Speaking of new artists and putting up the game, you have
I'd like to, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to give it up for NLE Choppa, who's in the building. Young Choppa's in the building.
Come up, Chop. Looking like Mike.
Your mic is on? Your chain is too big.
It is. Yeah, I can hear you.
Chop, you good?
Yeah. How y'all?
Too much ice. That's what it is, too much ice. So Chop, wanted to ask you, I think when you decided, to turn down, there was a bidding war for you, right? Within labels, traditional labels. When you decided to break into the industry independently,
yes,
you at 16 years old?
Yes, sir.
What was your thinking in doing that?
Just owning my music and just thinking about the long run process. You know what I'm saying? Just not to be quick to just hop in something that I didn't know. Cause I wasn't in the industry at first, everybody got a starting point. So when you're growing, you want to learn everything first before you just hop, that water. So really I was just playing it safe, owning my music, trusting Steve, so I can own all my music. And it just, instead of just signing and getting all that money up front, and then let's just say I mess around and blow it or something, I'm stuck in this contract. I can't make money off this song anymore because it's not my song. They own it. But with me just playing it safe, just owning my music, in the long run, it's coming back. I'm on it. I'm steady getting revenue off of it because, it's my song, 100%.
Love it. 100%. Love it. And Steve, you've worked with all the legends in the game. What was so attractive or special? What did you see special in Choppa?
He's a superstar. He's a young superstar. And when you speak to him, you speak to his mom, they were very, very focused on everything he just said. I remember it was very early. He said, man, I put $150 to shoot this video. The first video for Shotterflow. He put up
$150.
He put up the money. He put up $150, man. And
it was actually all I had in my account.
Wow.
I had $0 in my name after Shotterflow.
Did your mom think you were crazy?
Yeah, cause I paid more for my outfit than the video. Wow. And I didn't even wear the outfit. I just wore my tank top and so I kind of, you know what I'm saying?
So
yeah.
So now we talking about in December, he puts up $150 to shoot this video, and risk. It's what we talked about earlier, right? He took a risk. He emptied out his bank account because he believed in himself. And when you meet somebody like that, all you got to do is have maximum respect for that person. It don't make a difference if it's $150 or if it's a couple $1 million. If that's all you got, you put all you got on the line. And he put all he got on the line, to be where he is today. And I remember he started talking about the YouTube money that was coming in. So he was investing in himself. And I think that's very important when you recognize that. So when you ask me what I seen in him, what I seen was somebody who believed in themselves. And anytime you find somebody who believes in themselves, unfortunately that's so rare. You wanna be in business with them in any capacity you can. And I was fortunate enough to be in business with Choppa because of that. And he's a rocket ship. By the way, like superstar talent. He puts out $150, puts his video up in January. We meet shortly thereafter, where's my man KB? Happy birthday, KB. Right there, KB. Made the phone call, got him, and then we started hustling and we put the record out. The record started going. They worked their asses off,
The part most people miss.
Worked their asses off every fucking day, grinding, not taking shit for granted. And then the shit just blew up. And in fact, hold on a second. So much so, man, I'm gonna present you right here. It's your partner joint, bro.
Yeah.
There you go, bro. Yeah. Yeah.
Quick.
That's crazy.
Yo, that is crazy.
Yes, my man. So we talked about January, and then like now we sitting in here in July. This is the gold, and after that the platinum. He got the platinum joints. He got paid.
Let's give him another hand, man.
Give
That's
this man a
special,
round
man.
of applause.
That's special. That's dope. Choppa, how's that feel, man?
It feel
could put it-
crazy
we could
because
put it right
look,
over
I
there.
remember when I got the call that it was gold, and I was just like, they called me, and it was like everybody was so happy. They was like, oh my God, you got gold. I was just like, yeah, okay.
Time to work.
I want platinum. Yeah.
These things don't happen. This is not. This is what he's gonna do. First of all, young CEO. Not only is he the artist, he's also the CEO. He runs his business. It's a family business. And he's gonna teach the next generation of kids that they can also start off owning their own music. The whole industry is gonna change. He's 16 years old, having success, made millions of dollars, he figured it out, boom. And he's gonna change the industry. The same way, Carl, you're gonna teach the next generation of centers, they don't have to play with their back to the basket, right? Or you're gonna teach the next generation of young designers, they don't have to follow the status quo. It's what we talked about earlier. And I'm gonna teach the next generation of entrepreneurs that you don't have to, listen to what they say. You could actually do this, so you can own an advertising company, and you can start a beauty company, and you can build a music company. It don't matter. As long as you got it and you're true to yourself, you can get it done.
I want to thank Kat, Choppa, Don C, Steve, 2K for hosting us. Guys, enjoy ComplexCon. Peace.
Yeah.